An academician is an ignoramus if he doesn't believe in the unseen. Viewers, we're going to a new chapter, chapter 4. It is a chapter dealing with human rights and democracy, rights of the orphan and children, and most of all, the rights of women. In those eras, or in an era that is 1,400 years ago, and it still stands today. This chapter is called Surah An-Nisa, or Surah of the Women. Indeed, it's a surah of social equity and democracy, like I've said already. Let's go. Ya ayuhan nas, ittaqu rabbakum allazi halakakum min nafsin wahidatin wa halaka minha zawjaha wa batha minhuma rijalan kathiran wan nisaa. In English, O mankind, fear your guardian Lord, who created you from a single person, created out of it his mate, and from them the mate and the created, and from them twain scattered like seeds, into brackets, like seeds, countless men and women. Rijalan wa nisa, rijalan kathiran wa nisa, countless men and women. Wattaqu Allah allazi tasha'aluna bihi wal arham. Fear God, through whom ye demand your mutual rights, and be heedful of the wombs. Inna Allaha kana alaykum rakiban. And be heedful of the wombs. Be heedful of the wombs. W-O-M-B. Al-arhamu. Let me see that place again. Wattaqu Allah allazi tasha'aluna bihi wal arhama. Inna Allaha kana alaykum rakiban. Wal arhama, and the wombs. So let me go back to English again. For fear God, through whom ye demand your mutual rights, and be heedful of the wombs. Yes, this is where I want to be heedful of the wombs. And be heedful of the wombs, into brackets, that bore you, that brought you forth, you the listener, me and me too, that bore you. For God ever watches over you. Inna Allaha kana alaykum rakiban. I'm interested about this place that says we should be heedful of the womb. What does it mean? Ever since I read this years back, I've always been thinking of football in women. You know, don't play with the abdomen of the woman, whether you're a woman or not. I've ever thought that women's football is not right because football hits the abdomen of women. It's a big force, it hits the womb. The Quran tells us we should be heedful of the womb. Well, I don't know if football is played in the Arab countries, but according to this Quran, I don't think women should be engaged in football. Repeated hittings of the ball on the abdomen of women is not right because that's where we all come from. The Quran is telling us to pay heed and guard against those things. For instance, if a woman is getting pregnant, first pregnancies, they may not even know, they may not realize it. Some people give birth before they even realize that they were pregnant. Oh yes, it happens. So hitting that place repeatedly means you are causing murder. You are damaging the child inside. Even if she's not pregnant, it is nice to be respected. So in my personal opinion, going by this Quran, women's football isn't the best of decisions. It should be avoided. As well as other games like wrestling or boxing, where the womb can be affected. The Quran is saying that we should pay heed to the womb. Uh, for God is watching over us. Inna Allaha kana alaykum rakiban. That's the first sign. We go to the second sign. So, I know people will say in this chapter there is no democracy. Democracy is not like that. Democracy must go with, democracy would go with, what do you call it? With good mind. It must be beneficial. If democracy is not beneficial to mankind, it's no democracy. Women's football is not beneficial to mankind, to you and me and to the woman, because supposing the fellow in the womb is a man, he could be a president, a lecturer, a doctor, lawyer, journalist, and so on. So, do not say that is not democracy. I've said it. It's not only democracy, but equity and rights. The chapter is about equity, social equity, and rights and justice. وآتوا اليتيم أموالهم. آتوا اليتيم أموالهم. To orphans, restore their property. So this is still connected with war, victory, and failure, where orphans are taken by the victor. Orphans and women are taken by the victor, or by the victorious combatant. It says, to orphans, restore their property. Let's go on. وَآتُوا الْيَتِيمَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ ولا تتبدلوا الهيبات بالطيبة. Sorry. ولا تتبدلوا الهيبات بالطيب. nor substitute your worthless things for their good ones. You take orphans, then you have something that they also have, then you change. You take theirs that is good, and you give yours that is bad to them in the place of their nice ones. So this is equity. Equity. And justice. Now substitute for their bad ones. ولا تأكلوا أموالهم إلى أموالكم. For your worthless things, good things. And devour not. Wala ta'kulu. Ta'kulu is to eat. Devour not. But of course, you don't devour property. Devour means making use of it. And devour not. Devour not their substance by mixing it up with your own. Devour not their substance by mixing it up with your own. You know theirs is good, yours is bad. Then you put them together. When it's time to give theirs to them, you give your bad one. Give up your bad one and keep theirs. Inna Allah kana alaykum rakiban. No, I've gone back, sorry. That's watchful. Wala ta'kulu amwalahum ila amwalakum. Do not mix their good things with yours. Innahu kana huban kathiran. For this is indeed a great sin. Innahu kana huban kathiran. Huban is like, it's a sin, but huban, it could mean, what do you call it? What do I say? Covetousness. Great covetousness. Huban kathiran. But here is interpreted as great sin. Yes, a sin. Covetousness is sin. Great sin. We're going to sign 3. وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تُقْسِطُوا فِي الْيَتِيمَى فَأَنكِحُوا مَا تَابَ لَكُمْ من نساء مثنى وثلاث ورباع. مثنى وثلاث ورباع. 2 or 3 or 4. Let's see. If you fear that you shall not be able to deal justly with the orphans, marry women of your choice, 2 or 3 or 4. Matna أو ثلاثة أو رباع. مثنى أو ثلاثة. Yes, مثنى أو ثلاثة أو رباع. Marry women 2, 3 or 4. So this is where the marriage of many wives come in. They came in during the time of war. You kill your enemy. You take over their children and women, and they are numerous, many. They are with you. If you want to do justice, you might not even be able to do justice. But if you marry them, they become part of you, and justice comes automatically. You will do justice to them because they are part of you. You take care of their orphans well. You should, as a human being. So marry 4. This is where it started in the Quran, and it still exists today. But you know something? Before then, they used to marry very many wives, more than four. So we are lucky the Quran has restricted this number to four. Even today, we have people who marry more than four, many. 100 wives, they are there. 9 wives, they are there. 10, they are there. Five and above, they are there, even today. But the Quran has been wise enough to restrict the number to four. And even the increased number is necessitated by the advent of war and the capture of women and children and confiscation of taking over of property of the loser. Uh, مثل ثلاثة ورباع فإن خفتم ألا تعدلوا فواحدا أو ما أو ما ملكت أيديكم. So 2 or 3 or 4. Let's see. But if ye fear that ye shall not be able to deal with them, to deal justly with them, in brackets, to deal justly with them, then only one. So if you are not able, if you still know that you can't deal with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 women, take one. We know ourselves. We know our character. We know how we behave to our sisters, our brothers. We know. Then they know us. You take your brother can even tell your sister, look, John, can you take 2 wives? I take 3. Why take 4? Then you say, hey, yes, I must take just one. Don't let your desire drive you to take 4 women, only to make all of them miserable at the end. So if you fear you cannot take just one, well, hidden. Hmm? Let me see if I can go that again. Oh, where is it? Well, in Hiftum, Allah ta'dilu fawahidatan. If you fear you can just take only one. Aw ma malakat adikum. Uh, or that which your right hands possess. Or that which your right hands possess. Mm. That which your right hand possess. It means I think it's still the same one. I believe so. Pardon me if I'm not interpreting it right, because your right hand should possess just one. But those who are better than me in interpretation will know what I mean. Or what your right hands possess. وما ملكت أيديكم ذلك أدنى ألا تقولوا ألا تقولوا. That will be more suitable to prevent you from doing injustice. So if you take just one, or what your right hand possess will be rather would rather do you justice to prevent you from doing injustice. And what your right hand possess, I remember, is still a captive, war captive. Mm. So when you say ma malakat aidikum, it is dealing with war captured, uh, war-related women who have been captured. Mm. Okay, let's go. 4. Ayah 4. وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ نَحِلَةً وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ نَحِلَةً, sorry. And give the women on marriage, into brackets, their dower as an obligation. Don't say they are captured women, so you just take them and start bam, 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 bam. They are not prostitutes. You have accepted before God that you are taking them as your wives. Pay your dower to them. Give it to them themselves. I think this is what it means, because their relatives are not there. So give the dower to themselves. And what goes next? Nihalaku. فَإِن تَبْنَ لَكُمْ عَنْ شَيْئًا مِنْهُ نَفْسًا فَكُلُوهُ هَنِيًّا مَرِيًّا فَكُلُوهُ هَنِيئًا مَرِيئًا. هَنِيئًا مَرِيئًا. We'll come to that. But if they, on their own good pleasure, nafsan, in their own pleasure, nafsan. Oh, I keep missing this. But if they, of their own good pleasure, remit any part of it to you, take it and enjoy it with right. Take it with right and good cheer, right and good cheer, and that is Hani and Marie Ann. I love Arabic. Take it with right and good cheer. If you pay their dower to them, the dower is the money paid to the family of people you want to marry. So if you pay it to the women themselves because they don't have their relatives there, and they say, "Oh, Malam Isifu, have it, take it, enjoy it with right and cheer." In any case, we are not enjoying it alone because she is with you. She is part of you. So that's why I say this chapter is about equity and human rights and justice and good reasoning. Let's go to 5. ولا تؤتوا الشفعاء أموالكم التي جعل الله لكم قياما وارزقوهم فيها وأكشوهم وقولوا لهم قولا معروفا. قولا معروفا. قولوا لهم قولا معروفا. Yes. To those weak of understanding, shufa'a'u normally means fools. But here it is interpreted, you can't capture fools, you can't take fools. Fools are not common to come by. Even though they are fools, they are not common to come by. So here, shufa'a'u is interpreted as those weak in the mind. So, to those weak of understanding, give not your property, which God has assigned to you to manage. Of course, they don't have understanding. So why do you give your property to them? Simple. But rather, feed and clothe them. That is best for them. But rather, feed and clothe them therewith, with your money, therewith, and speak to them words of kindness and justice. So do not give your money to people who are weak in understanding, whether they are captured orphans or not. Do not. Their due share is for you to feed them and to clothe them. Make sure that they live well. If you give them your wealth, you are simply wasting your wealth without knowing it. So, well, either knowing it or without knowing it. But even if you don't know it, you will soon know it, because if you keep on giving your wealth to people who have no understanding, you know what would happen to your wealth. You waste it, all of it will go. Mm? Your wealth will finish for no reason. Mm? Uh, وابتلوا وابتلوا اليتيم حتى إذا يلقوا النكاح فإن 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 آنستم. Okay, let's take that first. حتى إذا يلقوا النكاح. Let's stop there first. Make trial of orphans until they reach the age of marriage. You can guess what trial is here. Be watching them. Watch them, test them, see them as they grow. And when they get to the age of marriage, you yourself will know these orphans, they have reached the age of marriage. Their mind is changing. If they get women, they can marry. So that's what the Quran says. I think that is what making trial of them means here. Hmm? Hatta yelko, hatta yel, hatta is a, sorry, that's it. No, I read it badly. Uh-huh. Wait, وابتلوا اليتيم حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح is balagu and not yet to is balagu hata yata balagu when they attained the age of marriage is a balagu and nikaha, the age of marriage. فإن آنستم فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم. If then ye find sound judgment in them, release their property to them. If then you find sound judgment in them, release their property to them. Equity, good judgment, accountability. Release their property to them. Remember this situation, we are not in that situation today. It was there in those days, and it was necessary for these rules, guidelines, and they still obtain today, even though in patches in our lives. We see how people maltreat orphans, workers from other countries. Even in Saudi Arabia, where it is still landed, you see how people treat workers, indigent workers. People have gone there only to look for money. Unfortunately, the Western countries treat them even better than Saudi Arabia. I regret to say that, but that's the truth. So that is why the Quran landed in their area, in their own language, Quran Arabiya, because their heads were hard. So the Quran has to go there to them to give them good guidelines first, and then to the whole of the world. Alameen. Okay, let's see. I've again lost my bearing. Let's see. Well, ولا تأكلوا. Oh, uh-huh. Make trial on them. If then they find their son bad, release their property to them. But consume not. Well, ولا تأكلوا ولا تأكلوها إسرافا وبدارا أن يكبروا If then you find them sound, you find sound judgment in them, release their property to them, but consume it not wastefully, nor in haste, or in haste against their growing up. Oh yes, when you get chieftain, you just make use of it fast because it's cheap. You want to finish it fast. If it's not cheap, you get it by your own sweat. You use it sparingly. You know how to use it. Yes, you know how to use it wisely and sparingly. But if somebody's property that you just lay your hands on by force, oh, sharp, sharp, you chop, yum, 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 fast, so that before you will realize you are finished. Hmm? When the colonialists came here, while we were sleeping, let me say, while we were speaking, they took our treasures away. Before we woke up, oh, they are gone. They are in their museums. Hmm? They are in their museums. When they went into Iraq, oh, before Iraq realized that they have all most of their treasures are in the Western countries. Sometimes even in private hands. Hmm? So you see, these things apply even today. Hmm? Uh, ولا تأكلوا إسرافا إسرافا وبدارا أن أن يكبروا أن يكبروا إسرافا وبدارا. Wastefully, let's see, but consume not wastefully, nor in a haste. Wastefully or in a haste. Israfan, wastefully, or badiran, in a haste. Yagbaru. Waman kana ganiyan. I love this. Still on justice. Waman kana baniyan. Faliyastakfifi. Faliyastakfifi. Uh, uh, no, yeah, sorry. If the guardian is well off, Ghanaian, if it's well off, Ghanaian, self-sufficient, let them claim no remuneration. Yes. If you are guarding, if you are looking after orphans and you know you are wealthy, why take their property? Why? Why? Why covet over their property? Eh? And it says, uh, fal yastakfif. Hmm? Uh, let them not claim uh, remuneration for yastakfif. But if he is poor, now he's come to the guardians who are poor, who are not rich, who are not self-sufficient. Waman kana fakiran faliyakulu bima'ruf. So now he goes to if the guardian, sorry, we've done with the self-sufficient guardians. Let them claim in but if the guardian is poor, if he is poor, let him have for himself what is just and reasonable. Ma'rufun. Just and reasonable. Ma'rufun. فإذا فكيرا فإذا فكيرا فليأكلوا بمعروف فيأكلوا بمعروف with justice. Let me see the interpretation here. Let them have for themselves what is just and reasonable. Ma'rufun. Wakafa billahi hasiban. So the invocation of God is again here. And this is stronger than police court or soldier police court because the God is stronger than all of them. So the invocation of God is here again. So let's see the invocation. What is it? Wakafa billahi hasiban. But all sufficient is God in taking account, but all sufficient is God in taking account. We are not talking police court here, police and court and judgment here. No, say God is first in judgment, hasiban in account. Mm? So you are doing it. You don't think that you are doing something evil. God has time for you. He's waiting for you. Mm? Your life on earth here, your life from birth to death, is only about 3 days. 2.5, sometimes less. That's for God. So you think you are living 100 years, but God knows that no, it's a matter of few days. So He doesn't mind you. So you keep on enjoying and laughing and dancing and dealing with women and whatnot. No, but because He's good in taking account of what you do, and He's good in punishment, in matron punishment. Uh, let's see. Okay, we go to sign 7. Rilijali nasibun mimma taraka alwali alwalidani wal akrebuna. Okay, let's stop there. So, from what is left by parents and those nearest related, there is a share for men. There is a share for men, relijalin. There is a share for men from what is left by parents and those nearest related. Now let's go to women. وللنساء وللنساء نصيبا مما تركت أو الوالدان. And also for women. So let's go to interpretation. There is a share for men and a share for women, yes. And a share for women too. So the English side, they've combined just the two, not separate sentences. And a share for women. When a the ban means a share. When a woman is called nasiba, it only means share, portion, proportion. You say a woman called nasiba. It's a proportion, share. مما ترى الوالدين والأقربون مما والأقربون مما قل منهم أو كثرة مما قل منهم أو كثرة, small or big, قل or كثرة. Let's go to the interpretation. There is a share for, and a share, whether the property be small or large, whether the property be small or large, a determinate share. You see, so if you are sharing property left behind, whether it's small or big, make sure everybody gets some. If there are 10 shares, don't say that no, 10 shares, one is not enough. Give them one. If it's perishable, a green or something, take a bowl, measure, and give them 1 cup each. And when they've all gotten it, go around again, either another cup each or half a cup each. Equity, accountability, democracy. Wonderful, isn't it? These laws were very, very, very necessary in those days. And indeed, like I said, even today, they are still necessary. Uh, I've lost my bearing again. Whether small or big, mimma kalla minhu au kathura nasiban mafrudan. Mafrudan means determinate. Whether a property is small or large, a determinate share. Nasiban mafrudan, a determinate share. So you determine the share, like I said, either one cup, and then If it's okay, if it's not okay, you take another. If it's okay, if they go all, it goes down to all of them. Another half cup. So determinate share. Nisaban mafrudan. Let's go to sign 8. What does it say? What is? What is a hadara? What is a hadara? Kismatan. Ulul ulul kurba wal yatima wal yatama wal masakina wal masakinu fa irzukuhum minhu wa kulu lahum kawlan ma'rufan. So here it is magrufan. The other, before then it was mafrudan. Here magrufan. Before then it was mafrudan, determinate. Here magrufan, and it is kind and just. Marufan. So let's go anyway. But if the time of division, other relatives or orphans or poor are present, but if at the time of division of the property, other relatives or orphans or, or poor are present, give them out of the property and speak to them words of kindness and justice. So while you are sharing, other people come in. Oh, we are the grandchildren of so and so. Oh, they are related to this. Give them a share. Then let them look at the property and walk away empty handed. No, give them a share of the property and tell them, oh, this is all that is left. Have this. You have that. You have that. You have that. That is equity, and justice, accountability. What do you call it? I forgot my English. Let me stop there. I can't remember the word now. Accountability. Uh, I've forgotten the word. So, and probity. Sorry, and probity. Yes, and probity. I need my memory is full. Probity and accountability. Hmm? Uh, so let's see. Uh, Give them out a property and speak to them words of kindness and justice. Kaulan marufan. Here it is not determinate. It's not mafrudan, but marufan. Kind words. Okay, we go to 9. Uh, well, yaksha allazina law taraku min hafahim zuriyatan da ifan hafu alayhim falyataku allaha wal yakulu kaulan shadidan. Here we have kaulan shadidan, appropriate words. But let's go to the beginning. Let those disposing of an estate have the same fear for their minds. Or let them those disposing of an estate have the same fear in their minds, not for their minds, have the same fear in their minds as they would have for their own if they had left helpless family behind. So you doing the sharing, have in your heart sympathy for those receiving the shared property, and have in mind, think of yourself. If you had died and left behind your relations, your wife, children, grandchildren, and property were to be shared, and they were shared wrongly, how would you feel? That's what this verse is telling us about. So whatever think you are doing, think of yourself. Think of the ramifications. If it were your own self, or your own self, that's what this verse is telling us about. Uh, فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا شَدِيدًا. If they had left a helpless family behind, let them fear God, فَلْيَتَّقُوا Allah, and speak appropriate words. قَوْلًا شَدِيدًا. So let them speak appropriate words to the recipients of the property of the dead, or booty, or whatever it is. It's still happening today. Somebody is managing the property of orphans, children, and he just consumes it. Even in orphanages, people come and beg. They are going to give it to orphans. And then they go and use it on their own children. Use it by themselves and then on their own children. So you see, 14 and a half, about more than 14 and a half hundred years ago, let them go American. They didn't say 1,400. They say they count the centuries. So more than 14 and a half centuries ago, these rules were promulgated by God, and they are still of use today, and they will still be of use till thy kingdom come. Thanks to my Christian friends. Okay, let's go. Namshi. Well, Shadidan, colon, appropriate words. Then, 1 Surah, sign 10, sorry. Time is against us, but it's a short verse. Let's quickly finish it. إن الذين يأكلوا أموال اليتيم ظلما إنما يأكلون في بطونهم نارا وسيصلون سعيرا. So let's go fast. Those who unjustly eat up the property of orphans eat up a fire into their own bodies. They will soon be enduring a blazing fire. Sa'iran yaslunahu. Yasluna sa'iran. Sa'iran means blazing fire. So you eat property that is not yours. You are eating into your belly, into your body. Fire. Ready to burn at the right time. Oh my God. So this is where we stop with the section completed. Next time we'll go to section 2 and it begins with 11. Thank you very much. Illa likai, bye-bye till we meet again. May God bless you for listening.